Oh, hi guys, I'm glad you could join me in a helicopter. As you can see just up ahead there is the Great Wall of China. Sarah recommended that we come to China for midweek chill, so here we are. Welcome to midweek chill in China. It's a secret ambition of mine to fly a helicopter, so it's great to be able to do this even though it's just virtual. What we're going to do in this midweek chill, first we're going to look for a village where there's a China tea house and a beautiful lady is going to teach us how to make Chinese eggs, Chinese marble eggs. And then later on in the Things That Matter, we will talk about how to benefit from the internet. I see our village is up front. I think I spotted the tea house. Let's land now.
Hi PCO Youth, Ni Hao. Welcome to China Tea House. Today I'm going to teach you a very special snack that you can eat all around among the Chinese. You can find it in Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong. The Chinese love the snacks. It's called the Chinese marble tea egg. The ingredients that it's going to do is all here. It looks a lot, but it's actually very simple. All you need is hard-boiled egg, tea bags or loose tea leaves, whichever you have, 1 bay leaves, pepper, dark soya sauce, light soya sauce, cinnamon powder, brown sugar, and water. That's all the ingredients. In the original ways of making it, they actually have star anise, but at my house there's no, so I just skip that. You can add it in if you have. And they actually use cinnamon stick instead of powder, but I use powder instead of the stick because I also don't have. And they use peppercorns, but I use pepper instead. All these ingredients can be improvised for your personal taste at home. So now I'm going to show you how to make this. First, you have to hard boil the egg. What you need to do is you take the egg out from the fridge, find a small pot and put the egg inside and fill it up with water and let it boil. And once the water boils, you just close the cover back and off the fire and let it simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes. Then you take the eggs out from the pot and under cold water let it soak for a while. So that's how you get the hard-boiled egg. Once you have the hard-boiled egg, now you can start making the marble tea eggs. So all you need to do is you have to crack the surface of the eggshell to make the marble effects later as you simmer it with the sauces. So I'm going to show you how you do. That's how you do. You just randomly crack the egg. You must make sure it cracks. So sometimes some of the shell drop off is totally fine. It won't come in. All you need is to ensure that the ingredients that you're going to boil together with the eggs later can seep through into the egg and create the marble effects that will look really nice and also delicious to eat. Once you have the egg cracks, you put inside the pot and you put in 2 tea bags, 1 bay leaves, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. This is light soya sauce. You will need 4 tablespoons. A few dash of pepper. And dark soya sauce, you can find it in any supermarkets. It's just to add more caramelized color to the sauce, which you just need about a tablespoon of it. Lastly, is to fill enough water to cover up the whole eggs and you stir them together and put it to boil. When the water is boiled, close it and let it simmer for about a few minutes. Then you can let it cool down and put it into the fridge.
So after 6 or 12 hours of the egg soaking in the sauce in the fridge, you can take it out to eat. the beautiful Chinese lady has brought up my marble egg. You can have a close-up shot of it. And then I will have mine, and then we'll be good to go to fry on to our things that matter. You can dip it in the sauce if you wish, and some cucumber to go with it. Right. Okay guys, so as you can see, we have flown over to Shanghai. I'm going to be careful not to bang into any of these skyscrapers. Let's find a place to land, and then we can go into things that matter on how to benefit from the internet. So here we are guys, inside the internet itself. Now one of the first things that come up when we talk about the internet between parents and youths is conflict. How much time to spend on the internet? Should they or should you as youths, young people, be allowed to go to the internet unsupervised? Can you have a social media account? And the list goes on with the various conflicts. Some of you have parents who are more open and allow you to use much more internet. Some of you have very strict parents who watch over you like a hawk, like an eagle, over the use of the internet. So in today's episode of Midweek Chill on how to benefit from the internet, I want to share with you some guiding principles when you use the internet so that it will benefit you, and in that way your parents will feel more comfortable to allow you more time and more access and more freedom when you go onto the internet. The first thing we need to understand, young people, is that the internet is amoral. That means it is neither good nor bad. Like any object, it is amoral. Objects are neither good nor bad. They have no moral value. Whether an object is good or bad depends on what it is used for, how do we use it. Take for example a knife. Is a knife good or bad? It's neither. It's amoral. It depends on what we use it for. If we use a knife to cut things in the kitchen, that's fine. If a killer uses a knife to kill someone, that's bad. But is that the knife's fault? No. On the user. Same with the internet, it's neither good nor bad, but depending on us. So we are the one who decide the morality of using the internet. And I want to tell you, young people, you can use it to very much big benefits for you. In this last 2 months plus of being locked down at home, the benefits of the internet have greatly shown out to the world, because children and young people can continue their online classes and online education while being stuck at home. Never has there been a time where the internet was so much more beneficial and useful to use. But at the same time, this doesn't take away the possible dangers lurking within the internet, because the internet still poses dangers of cyberbullying, scams, fake news, pornography, addictions of different kinds, and so on and so forth. And because of this, that's why there is a conflict, because parents are worried about how you young people use the internet. The answer to how much time you should be allowed on the internet, what you can do on the internet, whether you should be supervised, whether you can have a social media account, lies in one simple question: whether you know how to benefit from the internet. Or, on the other side, it's what your parents are worried about, whether you allow the internet to mess up your life. So young people, if you want your parents to give you more time on the internet, more freedom, allow you to have a social media account, then you have to show yourself to be able to benefit from the internet and not allow the internet to mess you up. What do I mean by that? The less responsible and the less mature you are, the more controls your parents will put in place for you. So parents tend to put more and more control on you if you show yourself to be immature in the way you handle the internet. Take for example, would you give a 5-year-old kid a big kitchen knife? I highly doubt so, and I pray that we don't do that. It's wrong. But I would have no problem giving a kitchen knife to a 15-year-old. Unless a 15-year-old is a bit psychotic, then obviously I'm not going to give the kitchen knife. But why the difference? Simply because the 5-year-old kid is less matured and less able to handle the knife compared to a 15-year-old. So the same way with you in how you use the internet. Do you show yourself able to handle maturely to benefit from the internet. Because the more you show yourself able to do that, the more your parents will give you the liberty and the use of the internet, just like you so wish to. So let me share with you 2 guiding principles that will help you to benefit from the internet. The first is whenever you use the internet, whatever websites you go to, whatever you're doing on the internet, ask yourself this question: is it right or is it wrong? Now, because right or wrong is very subjective to you, to me, to our parents, we all have different standards of what is right and wrong. And because we are Christians, let's stretch this question a bit further, deeper, and that's rightly so, is to ask, is this right or wrong in God's eyes? Is this right or wrong in God's eyes? So when you want to use the internet, when you are going to a particular website, when you are wanting to start a social media account, or you have a social media account and you want to post certain things, you need to ask yourself, is this right or wrong in God's eyes? Take for example, is it right or wrong to use the internet for your online classes right now for school? Obviously in God's eyes, it is right. Now, to many of you, you wish that it was not, so that you wouldn't have to continue schooling and you could spend a whole day playing games or just sleeping. But doing online classes is definitely a right in God's eyes. So to use the internet for that purpose is a great benefit, and God approves of it. Or another example, if you are on Saturday morning or a Friday evening logging on to Zoom so that you can have the church youth fellowship, is that right or wrong in God's eyes? Sure, of course it's right. Or if you are logging on or watching YouTube videos, is that right or wrong? Well, it depends on the kind of videos you watch and the content of the videos. What about social media account? Is it right or wrong in God's eyes to have one? Well, that depends again on you and the purpose of having a social media account. If your purpose to have one is so that you can keep up with your friends and continue the friendship, today friendship is no longer just physical but also in the virtual world, in God's eyes that's perfectly fine. But if you are wanting a social media account so that you can be popular, so that you can show off yourself to the world, as many social media account users do, then that's not really right in God's eyes, because your value is found in being God's child, not in what others think of you. Now, the second guiding principle to benefit from the internet is, when do you use the internet? This is assuming that you have learned and are applying the first rule of discernment, is it right or wrong in God's eyes. The second question you need to ask yourself then is, when do you use the internet? Take for example, if you're using it way past your bedtime, it's no wonder your parents get very upset and want to limit your internet use, because bedtime is there for you to get rest. Or if you're using the internet so much so that you are neglecting your family, maybe your parents are talking to you, or your siblings are talking to you, but your eyes are so fixated on the screen, then it's wrong. Now you may say, well, that's just my first 5 minutes of the day to use it. Yes, it is your first 5 minutes. That's why I'm not saying how long you use the internet, but when do you use the internet? When people are talking to you face to face, then it's right to put it down and talk to them face to face. If there's something very urgent, important, then say, could you give me 5 minutes? I need to finish this up on the internet first and I'll get back to you. Right? That's important. Or take for example another time, when do you use the internet? If it is a family time, family meal, but you have your device in front of you, it's no wonder that your parents get upset at you, because parents are wanting to have a family time. Or take for example, are you using the internet during the times when you are supposed to be doing your homework, or you're supposed to keep your room clean or neat and tidy, or you should be helping out in the house chores? All this determine how your parents view you in using the internet. Remember what I said, if you're wanting more time, if you're wanting more access, more freedom, then you've got to show yourself to be responsible and mature to use the internet in a manner that benefits you and not mess up or make your life worse. If you're not able to control when you use the internet, don't be surprised that your parents mistrust you on what you're using the internet for. Right? So young people, show to your parents, prove to them that you know when to use it and how to use it for benefit. And before we go, you need to understand also, young people, that the more internet you use, the more it will influence you. You can't run away from that. No matter how much you think that no, you are in control of your life, it's not true. The more time you spend on something, the more that thing will influence you. And the same goes for the internet. So if you spend more and more time on social media, you will be affected by what people think about you. You will get affected whether your postings or whether your account has more likes or more followers, and your mood will swing according to that day by day. Similarly, if you're using the internet to enjoy and to watch more and more worship videos or listen to online sermons, then the more and more you will be influenced to draw near to God. And that's one of a great way to benefit from the internet. So understand this, young people, the more you use the internet, the more it will influence you. So you think about back to the first question, is this right or wrong in God's eyes? Is this a right or wrong influence for you to have in God's eyes? Now, lastly, before we leave this world of internet, because I'm getting hungry and to me Chinese food is number one. I love Chinese food, alright? Before we leave this place, remember to beware of your safety when using the internet. To benefit from the internet, you've got to beware of your safety. Just likewise, when we are out on the streets or where we go around, we are aware of our safety, our physical safety. We are aware of bad people around us who may harm us. Well, just because the internet is a virtual world and you don't see people physically, we tend to let down our guards. But that is very wrong, because the internet can be just as dangerous or even more so, because the bad person can be in your very bedroom, right where you are, because they can access you virtually. What do I mean? Number one, beware of strangers, especially when you are using social media. Because it's a virtual world, anyone can pretend to be any person. And so it's harder for us to discern whether the person is a threat, is a danger to us. So be very careful about strangers. Ideally, in your social media account, you will only friend or allow in people whom you know, alright? Number two, never put your personal information on the internet. For example, your passwords or personal pictures that may compromise you, or even private things regarding your family. Even if you're sharing it just with your best friend. You know why? Because you can never know whether your friend shares it with someone else. And like butter that's spread on bread, you can't collect back the butter that's been spread on the bread, can you? You can't. Similarly, whenever you put anything on the internet, you can't properly or fully collect back or take back what you have put up. It will be there in the world of internet. So be very careful never to share personal information, passwords, personal photos that compromise you, or private things regarding your family that you have not asked permission from your family members, because they can be easily misused and they can even be used as a blackmail against you in future. So be very careful about that. The third thing is to be careful of scammers. We read this very often in the news, how adults are scammed of their life savings by bogus people who pretend to be authorities or business people or whatever it may be. For young people, the kind of scam that often happens is they want to particularly prey on young ladies, getting them to take pictures that you shouldn't take and then shouldn't share with anyone, and then they will use this to blackmail you against you. Or they get you to do some silly things, and including guys, and then they will use it against you and try to make you feel shameful and then take control of your life. So be careful of scammers, young people, because they can make your internet experience, instead of being one that's beneficial, it can turn to one that's very miserable. So young people, that's all the time we have for how to benefit from the internet. Remember the guiding principles. Number one, is this right or wrong in God's eyes? Number two, when do you use the internet? So these two will help you to benefit from the internet. So I trust that you have enjoyed our time here in China. Thanks to Sarah once again for suggesting to us to come to China, even though it's just a virtual trip. Now the helicopter ride was a long ride just to get to China. You know, helicopters aren't go that fast. Since we are in the world of cyber world, I am going to fly back through fiber optics together with you guys. So we're going to zoom back into Oman in less than 1 second through the wonderful world of internet. See you again next week, or see you in the Friday online service. God bless you, young people. Take care and be safe.